Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Chemical Guys Detail Garage. On today's episode, we have these filthy leather seats. Now, as you guys can see right in front of me, they are filthy, they have been neglected. You know, they are light material, they are light color. So you're definitely gonna notice all the dirt, grime, body oils that, bond to the leather, from long periods amount of time of not cleaning it, neglect, whenever you get into your car, sweating and stuff, like all that stuff collects onto your leather. So you want to make sure to clean this stuff up because, when you don't care for your leather, it ends up getting dirty. It looks very nasty. I mean, this right here, it looks tan, but in reality, this should be a lot lighter than what it is. And you guys will see once we clean it up. But you also want to keep it conditioned as well. So if you look right here in this area, you'll see that the owner of this vehicle, he didn't maintain the condition of the leather, which led to it cracking. But, that's kind of like a done deal right there. For this right here, you're gonna have to get it, physically repaired. You're gonna have to take this to a shop or fix it yourself, but that's gonna be like a permanent damage. That's not something that you can fix with like a conditioner or anything like that. So, to prevent your leather from, ever getting like this, cracked, faded, discolored, you wanna make sure to clean and condition your leather, which brings us here today. So we're gonna go ahead and do that for these leather seats. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a piece of tape here. I'm gonna mask off this area right here just because it's gonna be kind of hard to tell the 50-50 on the perforated side, but I will show you guys how to clean that as well. I'm gonna grab a little piece of tape just to extend this. Just get that right there. That should be good. Hopefully that sticks. Grab our tape right here, put that to the side. Now we're gonna grab our leather cleaner. Now, leather cleaner is great for, well, cleaning leather. Now this right here, it's strictly and only a cleaner. So this right here, it's gonna remove all the dirt, grime, body oils that collect on the leather. Now this, it's safe for all leather. So whether it be real leather, synthetic leather, vegan leather, whatever the case may be, this works on all types of leather. So it's OEM specified, which means that's gonna work out great on all leather seats. Even if it's dyed or colored or anything like that, it's gonna be safe for it. So to use this, you can either use it two of which ways. So the first one would be spraying it directly and scrubbing it with the brush. But remember, we do have some perforations in the leather right here, so we want to make sure that we don't spray directly into there because the chemical is going to get in there and it's going to make it very hard for us to clean up in there because it's going to be trapped in there. So the way I like to do is grab my horsehair brush, I'll grab my leather cleaner, and I'll spray directly onto the brush itself. Now what this does is it coats the bristles of the brush. So instead of me having to get the product all in the cracks and stuff like that, this allows me to just use the power of the brush to exfoliate and get that, that scrubbing power. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start agitating the surface. And you guys will see right away, from me scrubbing it, you'll see that the leather starts getting a lot lighter. I'm kind of brushing towards the tape here, so I might not get a hard 50-50 line, but you guys will see a huge and drastic difference between the two sides. As you guys can see, leather cleaner is perfect because it foams up nicely. So we get that deep exfoliating clean. And we're using the brush because if you guys can see the leather, leather has a texture. It's not straight, it's not smooth. It has a texture to it, which, you're gonna need something in order to get in there. So now that I've done that little area, I'm gonna grab my brown towel here and I'm gonna wipe off the excess of the cleaner. Wipe all that stuff off. And you guys can see it looks a lot lighter, definitely looks a lot cleaner. I'll wipe off the tape here. Check that out, guys. So if you guys couldn't tell with the tape on there, I'm just wiping off the moisture that got under the tape. You guys can see a hard 50-50 line of what a clean leather looks like versus that dirty leather. Now, all that right there, it's dirt, it's grime, it's body oils, it's stuff that collects over a long periods amount of time, which, you kind of forget about whenever you have lighter color leather like this because it kind of becomes a norm. You see this right here and you're just like, okay, my leather looks great. It's still looking good, but once you actually clean it, that's when the story changes. So cleaning your leather, huge and crucial part of maintaining the leather and the way it looks. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean the perforated side. So I'm gonna take this tape off. I know I kind of used two different tapes to do this. It's completely fine. I'm gonna grab my leather cleaner here and I'm gonna grab my brush. Now, same way like this, I'm gonna spray directly onto my brush, because if I spray directly onto here, the product is gonna go into all those perforations, and it's gonna be very, very, very difficult to clean up. You know, you're gonna have to probably get like a little cotton swab, a Q-tip, whatever it is that you need to get that product out of there, because it's not gonna look nice when, you know, you clean it up and you still have a bunch of liquid still trapped in there. So spray directly onto your horsehair brush and give it a nice little scrub. And you can always spray more if necessary, if you need some more cleaning power. Now this leather right here, like I mentioned, it was very neglected to the point where, you know, it's cracked. So I'm not saying that the work that we're gonna be doing on this vehicle, it's gonna come out perfect, simply because of the nature of the material. You know, this leather, it's extremely neglected. It's cracked, it's faded, and it's extremely dirty. So the leather cleaner is gonna do its best job to clean this stuff up. I also get this little area as well, just because I kind of got it a little over there, but you guys can see like right away it starts cleaning it up. And without me even having to put a tape line down, I'll just clean this little section so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I'll grab my brown towel here, wipe that up. Check that out. Nice and clean. You still have some dirt and grime right here in this little edge that I kind of got with the first pass on this side. But you can see there's the little patch of dirtiness right here versus this side right here. I'm also gonna wipe off the perforated side that we scrubbed, just to show you guys the cleanliness of how great the leather cleaner did. So you guys can see a huge difference between the two sides as far as how clean it is. You know, obviously this doesn't have anything on it right now because we removed all the, you know, it didn't have any conditioner on it to begin with, just because of how dry and how hard the leather is. But if there was anything on there, we've completely knocked that stuff down, because remember, leather cleaner, it's a super, super deep cleaner. So it's gonna remove not only your body oils, but any kind of oils you have on there from any kind of previous coats of conditioner, so that the next coat of conditioner that you apply, it adheres and bonds directly to the leather and not to that layer of dirt and grime and body oils that are on top. So now that we have that done, it's nice and clean. Now we can go ahead and condition this leather right here. But before we do that, I mean, I'm gonna wanna clean up the entire seat before I get to that area. So I'm gonna make sure to clean up the rest of the section, and I'll show you guys the conditioning process. All right guys, so quick little, before we get into the conditioning process, I did want to show you guys and share with you guys something this right here. So we decided to do the top part of the leather, and we decided just to put a piece of tape line there and see how dirty it was. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, when I was scrubbing the leather, I was kind of telling, our videographer here that, it looked like the leather may have just been a different color. So, from this right here to the bottom. So I didn't really think that it was cleaning it up. But once we wiped it off and we took off the tape, that's pretty much what we were presented with. So we saw that amazing difference. You don't necessarily see the difference of how clean your leather is until you actually clean it. Or, how filthy your leather is before you clean it. That's one of the many wonders of all the stuff that builds up on your leather. You definitely don't want the stuff kind of building up, because it's very nasty, it's very grimy, and if you have leather seats like this, you should be proud of that you have leather seats. So you want to make sure that they're clean and they're conditioned and they look great at all times. All right guys, so we just finished cleaning the seat. As you guys can see, it looks a lot brighter. It looks a lot the color that it is. But remember, there were some things that I did not promise that were gonna be removed, such as the cracks right here. You know, upon cleaning the leather, we noticed that there's a lot of defects in the leather. You know, you have a lot of cuts right here, tears, you got some wear over here. You know, the stitching is kind of falling apart. So these are just some of the things that you can kind of expect if you don't maintain your leather. So make sure that whenever you have leather, this is, you know, a prime example why you should always keep it clean and keep it conditioned. Mainly conditioned because the conditioning is what's going to keep the leather nice and smooth and nice and supple. So when you sit on it, it has a nice little kind of cushion to it, and it doesn't over time start cracking, such as like this side over here. So on this side, you see all the little cracks that are on there. That's all just wear and tear from, you know, the leather not having conditioning. As you guys can see, if I just kind of like push it down my finger, you'll see where like the creases kind of like come down. That's pretty much where those creases start. You know, whenever you sit on it and, you know, it's dry, it's faded, you know, it's gonna have that crack. So when you put pressure on it, you know, when you sit on it, it's gonna start cracking those areas that have a lot of pressure points, such as like this area right here, which you're gonna put, you know, your leg or, you know, your hips are. This is gonna have the most wear and tear on these leather seats. So now, I mean, as far as the leather, we can't really do much about it besides, you know, replacing it. But what we can do is apply a coat of leather conditioner to kind of prevent this from, you know, further getting damaged. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna grab our leather conditioner and I'm gonna grab one of our microfiber applicators here, and I'm gonna apply a few drops. Now this leather, it's extremely dry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blot it out. Now I want you guys to kind of notice the tone that it gives the leather. So usually on a black color leather, you'll be able to see because it'll leave it shiny. On these lighter colored leathers, you won't really see them so much as shiny, but they do give a light shine, and, you know, in certain angles when the light reflects on it. But what's mainly purpose of this leather conditioner is to keep the leather nice and soft and supple. So that's gonna go ahead and penetrate the leather right now. So it's gonna kind of act like a lotion. It's gonna condition the leather, give it that nice smooth feel again, and it also kind of revives the color a little bit. If I kind of like just do a little section right here, I don't know if you guys can catch it on camera, but this has a nice little shine to it, whereas this is just kind of like the original color of the leather. Now, if this was, like I said, a darker color leather, you would see more of like a high shine. But on these lighter color leathers, you're not really gonna get too much of that. So that works out great because, I mean, you know, the shine doesn't really determine, it's not the determinant factor of, you know, your leather being conditioned or not. The conditioner penetrates into the leather. So such as like lotion, whenever you put lotion, sure, it gives your skin a nice little glow. But I mean, you're not out there looking like you just put oil all over yourself. So I'm just gonna finish up with applying the conditioner. Now, one thing I did forget to mention, well, we haven't got there yet exactly, but whenever it comes to these perforations, you wanna make sure not to do what I did at the first. So when I applied the leather conditioner onto this section, it's a little bit different application versus the perforated side because, you know, right here, you don't have all the pores of the leather that the product is gonna get caught into. So what I like doing here is on this perforated area, I like to work in the product into the applicator, just because whenever I set it down, it's not gonna blot it into one of the holes of the perforations. So just work it in real good and you're good to go. You can apply it, and as you guys can see, it doesn't get all in there. So make sure that whenever you apply it to your perforated leather, make sure to work it into your applicator before you blotch it into all the holes. Now I'm gonna move on to this top area. As you guys saw, we did clean the top area, and you guys saw the difference of what the dirty side looks like. Like I mentioned, a lot of this stuff that, you know, builds up on this leather, it's actually from your own body. You know, your own body, you have body oils when you sweat in your car, you know, whenever you get into your car after, you know, a gym workout and your back is all sweaty, all that stuff, it's not just magically disappearing. It's actually landing on your leather, and it's seeping on there, and it's, you know, over time going to create this layer that's going to look nasty and dirty and all oily. So make sure to clean up your leather often. You know, whenever you clean your leather, you just want to make it a habit of doing it every so often. Now with leather conditioner and, you know, the whole cleaning process, there really isn't a set day of how often. Kind of like a wax. You know, a wax typically can last you, you know, a couple months. With leather conditioner, it all depends on where you store your vehicle. So just like your coat of wax, if you park your car in the garage, here with your leather, you know, obviously the product's gonna last a lot longer because it's under less UV rays. So when it comes to the leather, you know, you just kind of have to figure it out on your own and just kind of assess the leather. See if it needs the cleaning. See if it needs the conditioning. If it's dry, if it's faded, if it's hard, that may be one of the indications that you want to condition your leather. If it's dirty, if it's oily, if it's blotchy, that may be one of the conditions that you would want to pay attention to if you need to clean your leather. So it all depends on, how you maintain the leather, the conditions that you put your leather into, and, it all just kind of combines into one whole factor. So like I mentioned, guys, this video was not about, restoring this leather to brand new. We are faced with different scenarios every day. It may not be your own car, it may be your own car, who knows? But if it's your own car, remember, clean and condition it as often as you can to make sure that it stays in its best condition. In this case, some of this leather was not able to be restored just because it was a little bit too far gone, but we definitely can help out and, slow down the process of the leather wearing out and, failing in the future. So we definitely did a huge difference on this leather. Definitely looks a lot better. The leather looks a lot cleaner, and we don't have any kind of layers of body oils that are nasty on the leather. So all in all, I think this was a success. This leather looks great, and you guys are definitely gonna love using these products on your own leather. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you guys wanna pick up these products that we use today, make sure to visit our website, chemicalguys.com. As always, my name is Joey. This is Chemical Guys Detail Garage, and we will see you guys next time.